Greetings and welcome to Truckin City Live, hosted by yours truly, the one and only boss man. We are here having a good time tonight. Decided to have an impromptu live. We will call it Truckin' Headlines. What you need to know, news and info for the average Joe. If you're just joining us, we're talking about fuel prices and some of the good and bad associated with it. If you want to join the show during the show at any point in time, just simply click on the link pinned in the chat. That will avail you of the StreamYard. You can come on up here and be part of the show with me. Talk about how fuel prices are affecting your bottom line, your daily run, and the way you look at trucking. Fun fact, across the U.S., heavy trucks consume roughly, and this is where I got the thumbnail from, 40 billion gallons of diesel annually. That's a lot of fuel when you think about it. It's something you want to think about next time you pick up that pump and put 200 gallons in your tank. That's about $800 last time I checked at the current prices. Tell me what you think of these fuel prices and those kind of hits to your bottom line. Welcome to you, Fake Trucking. Glad you could join us. I'm glad you're with us here. Hope you're warm and safe wherever you're at. Add to that, a single truck can burn over $72,000 a year. Now, that fact is based on older dollar figures, so I'm sure that that's probably gone up a little bit, just to say the least. When the price of diesel jumps, the story behind it matters just as much as the number on the pump. Right now, one of the forces pushing fuel higher is the conflict involving Iran, which is rattling global oil markets and disrupting shipping throughout the Strait of Hormuz, a route that normally carries 20% of the world's oil supply. I don't know how we live in a world where 1/5 of the world's oil supply is forced to navigate such a short, narrow, 29-mile across section of real estate in one part of the globe. It's just really, it boggles my mind. But it's a fact I can't change. But, you know, it's a fact nonetheless. When oil shipments slow down or markets think they might, traders push crude oil prices higher, and diesel tends to react even more aggressively. You don't have to make this show or anything really political to talk about it. It's just a fact that affects you. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. Be here in the U.S., be across the world. Doesn't really matter. Right now, tensions involving Iran have raised serious concerns across global energy markets. A significant portion of the world oil supply travels through shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz. And whenever military activity increases in that region, oil traders react quickly. The concern isn't always the supply has already stopped. It's that it could, and markets price that risk immediately. That reaction pushes crude oil higher, and when crude moves, diesel follows right behind it. That means higher operating costs even before freight even leaves the dock. And that brings us right back to the people who feel it first. People like you and me. You watching it, me running this truck. It is not easy. I have almost seen my fuel costs more than ramp up over 50% of what they normally are. I'm not going to give you numbers, but they are significantly a lot higher. And I'm doing things today that I've never done. And that's I'm actually shopping around before I stop. You know, this is because I'm here doing an overnight stay before an early morning delivery. I didn't fuel here, so let's just leave it at that. news outlets all over have been reacting. And recently, I caught one such update that I think you'll probably be pretty interested in. So let's get a look at that here just a second. Let's see. Got to get to the right file. You'd think I'd have this all figured out beforehand. Anyway, an outlet in New York and a couple of others recently spoke directly with truckers and others about these fuel spikes and what they mean to us on the ground. So let's roll that report right now and hear about what they said.
Ed Smith has been a truck driver for 50 years. He understands that prices go up, but says something isn't right.
I don't think we should be getting hammered the way we are. Because then, our cost goes up, so everything else has to go up.
Kendra Hems is the president of the Trucking Association of New York and says we've been in a freight recession for years, which made things difficult for the industry. And it's now feeling the squeeze of increased prices at the pumps.
Diesel typically is the second largest expense for the trucking industry. So when you have this kind of price escalation, there's a direct impact in them.
Oil prices have seen major swings in the last couple of days. And a primary driver, as you say, is the Strait of Hormuz. So that critical waterway for global oil shipments is under intense pressure with this ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Now, if the conflict drags on and the strait continues to be impassable, experts warn oil prices could rise to $150 a barrel, driving up gasoline and other energy prices further. Now, okay, so we're talking about gas prices, right? Now, the national average did pop up to $3.54. That is, according to AAA, remember about a week ago, we were at $3.10 or so. But what I will note is that energy ministers from the G7, they're meeting today, including the U.S., and they're talking about dipping into emergency oil reserves. If they were to do that, you would likely see oil prices come down further.
Think about that. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. I figured I'd start out tonight not with more news. You've already gotten the news. You already know what's going on, and we'll get to more of that in just a moment. But if you're just joining us and you want to become part of the show, go ahead and click that StreamYard link down below. I'm using that as a means for you and I to talk. Other than the comments, you can put chat in the comments if you want, or you can click that link, come on up here and be part of the show and sit here right with me and have a chat. Tell me how fuel prices are affecting your daily run, your weekly plan, your bottom line, and how you're dealing with and what you're doing. How are you shortcutting and finding cheaper prices? The higher they go, the less money in your pocket. So this certainly is something to really take seriously. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. Let's do a little bit of trivia. I've got a few questions. Let's see how you guys remember the history of fuel spikes. What year did the United States first see diesel prices surge past $4 per gallon nationwide? What year did the United States first see diesel prices surge past $4 per gallon nationwide? If you guys think you know the answer, put it in the chat or click that StreamYard link. Come on up here, try to school me. Tell me you know more than I do. As I used to say on front lines, prove me wrong. Wasn't all that long ago, guys. If you think you know the answer, the year the United States first saw diesel prices surge past $4 a gallon. The answer to that is 2008, during the global oil crisis when crude oil briefly hit almost $147 a barrel. That was quite a spike. We're spooked now over, I think the highest it was last week, correct me if I'm wrong, was 120. Yeah, it was a good guess, 2008 or 9. Many drivers remember that summer because fuel costs nearly brought parts of trucking to its knees. In 2008, crude oil surged to nearly $147 a barrel, the highest price in modern history at the time, driven by booming global demand, market speculation, and tightening supply concerns. As oil prices climbed, diesel prices in the United States pushed past $4 a gallon, and in some sectors of the country went up over $7 a gallon, placing enormous pressure on trucking companies and independent drivers. I remember that well. The spike became so severe that many small carriers parked their trucks. Fuel surcharges became a central part of freight contracts and discussions all over, and the industry began taking fuel efficiency more seriously. If you're watching this, if you've decided at any point in time recently because of fuel prices to park your truck, let me know. I want to hear about it. Or are you using other methods to save a gallon of fuel? If you listen close, you don't hear an engine running. You hear a reefer because I'm a reefer driver. That I can't stop running. But the engine in my truck is not running right now. Looking at my amperage needle, I'm going to have to solve that pretty quick. Yeah. Question number 2, the price collapse. After years of high fuel prices, there was a moment when diesel suddenly collapsed by more than $1 per gallon in just a few months. What year did that happen? Tell me in the comments if you know. After years of high fuel prices, there was a moment when diesel suddenly collapsed by more than $1 a gallon in just a few months. It was quite sudden, and a lot of us didn't expect it. But we enjoyed it. We have a guess. It is close. You are so close, it's not funny. The answer is 2014, when global oil supplies surged and prices fell dramatically. That was the year drivers suddenly saw diesel fall fast after years of climbing. In 2014, global oil production surged from rapidly expanding U.S. shale drilling, creating more supply than the market could absorb. As a result, crude oil prices collapsed from what was at the time $100 a barrel to nearly $50 a barrel within months, one of the fastest energy price drops in decades. For truckers, the sudden fall meant diesel prices dropped dramatically, lowering operating costs and temporarily giving us in the industry one of its most profitable environments in years. It's a shame it didn't last longer, let me tell you. Would have been a heck of a thing to see. Next question, if you're interested in going back in time. During the C-19 lockdowns, oil demand collapsed so dramatically that something almost unbelievable happened in the energy markets. What historic event occurred with oil prices in April of 2020? What significant event happened for the first time ever? Could be summed up with one word, something that hasn't happened since either. Something you'll probably never see again. During COVID, oil demand collapsed so dramatically that something almost unbelievable happened. Around April of 2020. What was that? If you look back on the historic records, you'll find that for the first time ever, oil fuel. There you go. Yep, you got it. Good man. He knows his stuff. For the first time ever, oil futures briefly went negative, meaning producers were paying traders to take oil off their hands. That didn't happen very often, but we're glad it did there. That meant cheap prices. In April of 2020, during the height of the C-19 lockdowns, global demand for oil collapsed almost overnight. Manufacturing and transportation slowed dramatically. Storage tanks began filling so quickly the benchmark crude contact briefly fell below zero per barrel, meaning sellers were effectively paying buyers to take oil off their hands. While the moment was short-lived, it demonstrated just how fragile the global energy market can be and how quickly events around the world can ripple directly into the price of diesel for American truck drivers. Now, I've got a pretty decent reason why I'm kind of going back in time and going over these. Because I'll tell you something. A lot of talk has been on the news and on social media about how bad things are. How quickly we forget how bad things have been. Some of us aren't old enough to remember what happened in the 70s. That wasn't a pricing problem, that was a supply problem. But speaking of supply, just a few years ago, the United States faced warnings about critical low diesel reserves. What year did analysts warn the country had less than a month of diesel supply in storage? If you remember that answer, put it down in the comments below. Let me know. The United States faced warnings about critically low diesel reserves. When did analysts warn the country that it had less than a month of diesel supply in storage? Yeah, very true. Even in the 80s, you're right there. To answer this question, in 2022, U.S. diesel inventories dropped to some of the lowest levels in decades. As refineries' capacity tightened and global energy markets were disrupted, analysts warned at the time that the country had less than 30 days of diesel supply in reserve, a level rarely seen in modern fuel markets. The shortage pushed diesel prices to record high levels and reminded the trucking industry just how dependent on the entire country is on a steady supply of that one critical fuel. Which brings me back to how I opened the show. We are still, even as energy independence has been the talk of the day, and we're still 25% of the way through the current administration, swearing up and down they're going to make the U.S. energy independent. We're still dependent on oil supply across the world. I think whatever we got to do it a little faster because these prices are ridiculous. I'll tell you something. It is ridiculous to see how something so, I say minor, I mean, conflict with Iran isn't minor. Anytime people are in war, conflict is not minor. The whole thing is major. The whole idea of it is major, you know. I'm not going to get into the political venue of it, but, you know, the idea that a rogue nation can threaten others, that's a conversation for a different channel. But something as simple as a conflict can affect what we do. We have nothing to do with it, but yet we're left paying for it. Global events can move oil markets like that. So let me ask you guys a question if you're watching and you're interested. Have you noticed how something happening halfway around the world suddenly shows up at the sign above the pump, literally the next morning? I remember on the 28th, I was driving through Indiana, and I'd shut down, I forget where it was. I think it was Remington, but don't hold me to it. I remember falling asleep. The price was $3.65 or $3.69. I woke up, looked at the news, saw that we had killed the leader plus 40 or 50 others, and then almost immediately looked up, and the sign, I kid you not, jumped 30 cents. It went to $3.99, just like that. Just the news broadcast itself was the only thing I saw, and then I saw the price jump. And I mean, to date, we've seen some $100, $1.40, $1.45, maybe more in some areas. I saw a report on social media the other day. There's a place in this country that has $10 a gallon. $10. I don't know what city or state that is, but let me tell you what, I ain't going there. I ain't going there at all. Tell me how are things affecting you? Dealing with higher fuel prices? Are you looking at loads differently? Are you driving more? Are you driving less? Let us know how these fuel prices and this Middle East conflict has affected your thinking about how you drive that truck. Let us know. You can either tell us in the chat, or you can click the StreamYard link pinned at the top of the chat. Just click that link, come right on in and join me in conversation. I do talk a lot, but I get lonely fast, so don't wait around too long. A lot of global oil flows through one place. As I said earlier, it's 29 miles wide, but if you've got anything to do with that Middle East oil supply, you've got to go through it. And the mullahs, they know this. Everybody fighting against our military knows this, and they're doing this on purpose. Got a comment here. Let me see if I can read it. Definitely looking at loads differently, and I drive shorter miles. Well, I got to ask, I mean, that may save you on the fuel, but that also hurts the pocketbook, because the shorter miles you drive, unless you're talking about deadhead, you're getting lower load rates. I mean, if I were still at Landstar, and I'm not, I would be looking to go virtually across the country if I could, because I could expect premium rates paid in and the fuel surcharge. I don't know who you work for or how you do it, but the company I work for, I've got pretty much a set area that I currently do. I won't turn down the 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 mile run. I won't. I'll jump on that, because every dollar I can get in, I want in. And I'm definitely going to look at how I spend that money a lot differently. So we got a guest joining us for the evening. Let's welcome Fake Truckin to the house.
What up?
Welcome to the show. Glad you could join me, my friend. It's been a long time.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
All right. Hold on one
You
second.
You can hear me all right, I hope.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So,
how you doing?
I'm great.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted right now.
No. Hey, I'm distracted too. I got so much going on trying to run this show. It's, you know me, Mr. Technical Difficulties.
Right.
So
I hear you there.
Yeah. Anything I missed? I mean, if you want to answer any of the questions I first brought up, have at it, man. I won't stand in your way. I mean,
I got some questions, but I'm not going to ruin your live show.
Okay.
You know.
Well, let me get back to that.
So
first
no,
question.
you know what? Hold on.
James,
Let me. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Jerome answered, and he said he's looking at loads differently, and he drives shorter miles. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, the biggest change I made is I slowed down even more. I typically don't drive fast. I'm a 65, 66 miles an hour type of driver.
Right.
I slowed down to 62 miles an hour on my last run from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania. And it
Right.
worked. I mean, I got almost 9 miles a gallon doing that. So
Nice.
I went
Nice.
through, I went through 116 gallons worth of fuel. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
like you
remember.
said earlier, shopping around. You definitely have to shop around for your fuel now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna touch on some points that I've learned from a number of sources, not just yourself, but others that I've talked with recently. Um, I'm going to touch on some of those because my aim here at Truckin City is to help and share the knowledge and share the wealth. So we will definitely touch on some of that. Um, so
Wonder if I
yeah,
turn this light
if
on.
you like what you're seeing so far, I would appreciate it if you go down below, hit the like button, spread the word, let everybody know the voice for truckers exists here at Truckin City because that's what we want to do. Once a week, I want to come up here and I want to host a show just like this, talk about current news events, get a feel from you guys exactly how things are affecting you, whether it's regulations, policies, fuel prices, loads, markets, whatever. Whatever the story du jour of the week is, that's what I'm doing. So, um, look, I mean, routes are currently just kind of recovering, but there are some that say we're still in a freight recession. There are some that argue we're getting out of it. But even with that, now you add in this complication of increased fuel prices. I mean, that can sour somebody's opinion of trucking real quick. How Fate,
Well,
how do you stay sane with all this going on? Let's just answer it that way.
so I hate using this analogy, right? Because
Okay.
it makes me sound different than what I really am, I guess, or you know what I mean. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually am a business.
Yeah.
I am incorporate. I am a business. Um, Granted, there's only one employee at my business,
True
but
that. True that.
I look at things as that's the cost of doing business. Now, if you're a bigger business or a bigger trucking company, this is where just like every business, every corporation, they look at their highest costs
Mhm.
and they try to eliminate that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? That's why you see people being laid off. That's why you see trucking companies,
The
you
two
know,
highest costs in trucking are insurance and fuel.
uh
Those are the two highest.
you
That's
usually at trucking companies, some of the highest costs, at least what I've seen in my, when I used to be in the office. I
right.
mean, payrolls 90, like almost number one all the time
Right.
is your payroll costs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Then you have insurance, and
Hmm.
then you have fuel, and then it
Right.
was insurance. You know what I mean? Which
Hmm.
insurance, even for somebody like me, or you said Jerome Jones was in here,
Drunk. Yeah. Drunk.
that is a cost.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
let me grab some paper. I actually can go off of some real numbers if you don't mind.
That's up to you. I don't expect anybody to share things they're not comfortable sharing. So I mean that's entirely up to you.
Oh, I'm not, people kind of know who I am. You know what I mean? Not in that way. Like, I've shared
Yeah.
stuff before.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I can speak only for my business,
Hmm.
right? I'm a
Right.
guy that, I don't live outside of my means. This is
Right.
something that I want to do for like the rest of my driving career. If that's 5 years or 10 years or whatever, like, this is what I want to do. I never want to go back to being a company driver. So
Right.
I don't, I made more money on
Mhm.
paper as a company driver. I have no problem admitting that. So my highest cost as a business is fuel. last year I spent $74,388.33 on fuel. My fuel costs were 65 cents per mile. Now, that is all my fuel. That is my truck fuel, my reefer fuel, and my DEF. My second highest cost, well, so I own 2 trucks. So one truck I have a loan on. That cost me about $1,000 a month, so that was my second highest cost. And then my third highest cost was maintenance, $14,454.90, 13 cents a mile. So like knowing your numbers, especially in times like these where for me, it is my highest cost as a business. It exceeds the amount that I pay myself.
Right.
I have to be aware of that, and I need to know what that is going to cost me every day that what I mean? Every mile that truck turns, I need to know how much that is going to cost me.
Mhm.
Just in that one number, including all the other numbers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just for a quick reference, I'll tell everybody, I don't mind doing this. My cost per mile last year was $1.27 per mile. That was my cost per mile on, I want to hide some of this because this is like tax stuff.
Yeah. Don't show us that.
Yeah, I don't know how to hide it without wrecking it.
Right.
What was I saying? $1.27 a mile was my operating costs, and that includes your fuel, taxes, accounting fees, just you name it, everything that a business pays, your phone services, all that.
Right.
That's what my operating costs were last year. The current situation we're in right now, that is going to go up. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. Yeah, it will. It will. Yeah. Yeah. Just a reminder, hit that like button if you are getting anything out of this show. If you're joining us afterwards, the replay, please do everything you can to tell others about Truckin City. I am coming to you as an average truck driver, giving you information that you guys out on the road need to hear and want to hear and want to share. It's not just me telling you. I want you guys to share with others, because we don't make trucking great, again, by holding in and holding back. We make it great by sharing, by helping, by telling. That's how we do it. So certainly tell others, let them know, and we will certainly energetically come back here every single week. Let me ask you, Faith, do you think some of these recent spikes, anyway, just what we're having, do you think there's actual shortages involved, or do you think it's just fear right now?
Well, I am definitely not an economist. I can speak on something that was shared with me the other day by a ex-lieutenant commander in the Navy who said that strait we're talking about is like the lifeline of the Middle East.
That is,
and one incident in that strait can cause a global, it can affect everything globally. And actually what he was saying was like he's fearful of some sort of, he thinks strategically that if we brought warships into there and one or two of them were disabled in there, we're screwed. And
well, I was just going to recall a situation not long back. I don't remember exactly when it was, but there was one that ran aground, and there was a bunch of tankers
Suez
in the
Canal.
Gulf that couldn't get out. Well, no, it was actually in the Straits.
Oh, was
and
it?
I think it was due to, or around the same time of the incident where they took hostages off of one of I think one of either our ships or one of the Israeli ships. You remember
So-
what I'm talking about?
Not really, but my
yeah.
buddy has been there a lot,
Yeah,
and he was telling me that area, that passage, he's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's crazy. Like
It's
there's
29 miles from side to side,
with
but the channel,
thousands, yeah.
the
But
channel
there's
is
all kinds of
only just so
fishing
much.
boats in there. There's all
Yeah.
kinds of like recreational, not that like they're out there just boating, having fun like I do in Minnesota, but like
Right.
he's like, dude, it's crazy there. And if one major thing happens, like it affects so much globally. I liked what you said earlier, how one area can affect everything.
And it
You
does.
know?
It's just historically, unfortunately, been that way. It's never changed. Just one hiccup, and all of a sudden, boom. Next thing you know, which leads me to my next question: why do you think it is that we, as an industry, us truckers, we wind up being the first people in the economy to feel the impact when stuff like this happens? Why do you suppose that is? To me,
I don't
yeah,
know if we're the first, but we're definitely up there.
yeah. I
It,
mean, because when you think about it, everything we touch goes on the backs of one of our trucks.
well,
Not
it goes
you and me
on
specifically,
ships.
but,
It goes on, yeah.
Right. There's a huge network. I mean, ships, rail, you name it. We're a part of that, but we're kind of part of that last mile network, if you will. They
Yeah, I
could
don't
run it
disagree.
across the country and they could run it across the world, but if you can't get it with that $5 a gallon diesel from dock to store, you're dead in the water. That's the problem.
I don't have that answer.
Yeah.
I that's a great question. I'm not intelligent enough to.
Hey, I'm not looking for intelligence. On this show, I'm looking for opinion and just, the everyday Joe thinking. I mean, you're an everyday Joe just like me.
Well, I'm in a
We all are.
I'm
all are.
I'm in an industry that relies heavily on petroleum products. Of course,
Yep.
I'm going to feel the pinch
Yep.
when stuff like this happens.
Don, welcome in. Glad you could join us. He says we are easy targets. I don't know about that, but yeah, it certainly feels that way, doesn't it? I mean,
well, no, it does. It like I feel like such an. I don't know what the word is. Like we feel it for what we do. The average person feels it every time they go into the grocery store, man. Every time they go to buy something, they feel it too. It's not just the truck driver that feels it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he goes on to say the industry needs it. I don't know if he's talking about fuel or just a service or what, but yeah. Hey, look, we got to do a job. You might not be a trucker, but you got to do the job you do because somebody down the line's depending on you. So that's really no different here. The people that supply the fuel, that sell it, they got a job to do. We do, they do, everybody does. So it's fuel drives the economy. You're right. It does. Aston.
A farmer could tell you soybeans drives the economy. I'm not trying to like cause an argument with him because he's
no,
not
you're
wrong.
not. You're not because I mean
I'm not trying to cause an argument with him. He's not wrong, but neither is the farmer.
Well, even the farmer with the soybeans, as much as he wants to push that into the fuel thing, he needs diesel too.
Yeah, he does.
But everybody does. Everybody does. When fuel spikes hit like this, how long do you think it takes before rates actually catch up? It always seems like rates always lag behind.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. I mean, you, as owner operators, as independent contractors, you have the capability of asking a broker
I'm not
for
going to
more
disclose details, but I'm amazed. I can say this much: I seen a rate con with fuel surcharge on it for the first time in a long time recently. I mean, I about blew my. I mean,
I have
was
no
amazed.
problem sharing that. I had a fuel surcharge of 75 cents per mile on the
Yeah.
load.
Well,
I have no problem
I
admitting
didn't do the
that.
math, but the fact that I saw it and thought about the high prices, I thought, well, that's good for discussion anyway. I don't remember exactly what it was, but like you do. Um, he goes on to say, Don says 3 months. That's pretty specific, but I think
Maybe
I know
Don
where you're
knows
getting
something
that
we
from.
don't know.
Well, I think I know where he's getting that from because I mean, typically when you look at the ordering cycle and how shipments move, I've always said that that's generally 60
Oh,
days
my
from
phone's
order
right
to
here.
fulfillment. So I'm thinking he's probably somewhere close. So
So let me just use
go ahead.
easy numbers here.
Okay.
So that would be what? Let me do some math here real quick. Yeah, that would still be like a dollar 60 something.
Welcome to Griff. Glad you could join us, Griff. Glad you're here.
It,
Go ahead. Continue your thought.
well, like I said, I think as a business or anybody operating in some sort of independent capacity, whether you're a lease purchase person, whatever you do, right?
Right.
Like you're leased onto a carrier that gives you $1.50, $1.25 for every mile loaded or empty, plus a fuel surcharge. This applies to everybody. Like knowing your bottom line numbers are absolutely critical because, like I said, my last year cost me $1.27 per mile for all my expenses as a business. Well, if I'm
Yeah.
doing 350 gross on every mile, like I also think in trucking, and I know I'm going to get heat for this in your comments. I think in trucking, we are greedy. Like, and I'm okay with that. We're
Oh, we have to be.
capitalists.
We kind
Like,
of have to be.
we're greedy. And at some point you have to know.
But
like,
I don't look at what you're saying as a bad thing. That actually is a good thing because in order to survive in business today, you almost have to have that mindset. Not to the degree that you're somebody bad or that you're somebody that
greed
hold on, man.
greed
Hold
can
on.
do.
Hold on. I'm watching. He was that
Swift
close
back
to
up.
my mirror. Yeah, he was that close to my mirror. I was about to get up. I look at greed as a good thing, not a bad thing. I don't look at it as something to be shunned or said, oh, that's bad, whatever. I mean, and I think I've said this in one of my videos in the past. I mean, greed is something that, if kept in your mind anyway and not acted upon, can keep you aware of the situation enough to you protect yourself. I mean, I put it differently. I said it differently, but it's a natural instinct. Why deny that? Why treat it like it's taboo or bad? Not that it's something that you're gonna, of course, screw everybody over. I mean, because every time somebody uses the word greed, that's the first thing you think of, right?
I think you're yes. And
Yeah.
I don't mean it in that way. What I
Mhm.
mean about that is, at what point do you as a business look at what is enough? Like I said, last year it cost me $1.27 per mile to run the truck. Let's
Right.
hypothetically say that every mile I turned, I had a gross revenue of $3 a mile.
Right.
That means after my business expenses, that is what, $1.73 a mile
Mhm.
to my business of
Mm.
profit. And out of that $1.73, you pay myself, you save money, you do things to hopefully
Yeah.
expand your business or do something to
Right.
benefit you
You have
as an
to.
individual and a business.
Yeah.
I think there's some individuals that, because they don't know their bottom line numbers or understand the numbers, or
Right.
get hit with huge bills
Hmm.
and don't have the reserve to take care of it,
Right.
they think they need $5 a mile.
Right.
And I'm sorry, like, I've been in this industry of 26 years, man. Like, I've never worked for a company that they're turning $5 a mile on all the freight they're hauling.
Yeah,
You know, there was times we did, but
it was. Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Griff says you need to be greedy. You can run for free, but you can run at $1 all miles. Unless I'm misreading that. I mean, $1 a mile today.
Well, I just told you my operating costs were $1.27. But like I said, if I'm booking freight, if I look at the load board, right, and I don't do this all the time, so I don't want to seem like this is how I do my stuff, because I don't run a lot of the spot market stuff. I usually run 4 or 5 loads a month on the spot market. That's about it. And they're usually with the same brokers or whoever that I've worked with in the past.
Familiarity.
Everywhere I run, I mean, if I'm getting $3.50 to go from the Midwest to the East Coast, and I know that last year it cost me $1.27 a mile. This year, I gotta add inflation into my numbers, into what I'm trying to achieve. And then every month I look at that. I just think some of us shoot ourselves in the foot thinking that we need more than we really need, because there's always a time to get more, right? But there's never a time to make up for the load that you lost because you're being stubborn.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep. Hang on a minute, Fake. Griff, did you not get the memo and see the pinned comment? If you'd like,
I meant stuff, but I didn't mean that. So, but you need to be greedy, but you can't run for $1 a mile all mile. That's what I meant. But I'm trying to type on my phone, so I kind of messed it up.
Why don't you click on the StreamYard link and come on up like you did last week?
I'm not at home, and I'm on the road, so I'm driving stuff. So I was on my computer. So.
Oh well, you can still keep the camera off and still run. So I mean, it doesn't matter.
It's all good, but I just was clearing up stuff that I messed up stuff. But
you able to hear
him? Stuff.
Are you able to hear him, Fate?
Yes.
You can.
Nope.
Okay. So what were you talking about with that $1 a mile, Griff?
I said when thing was going on about you need to be greedy, but you can't run for $1 a mile all miles. You don't make any money that way.
Right.
Basically, what I was trying to say.
Broke.
But I was going to say you can't always run for $10. Or you can't always demand $10 a mile and run all freight at $10 a mile. So also too. So.
Well, I mean, during any given week, your numbers are going to be all over the place. There have been times where my average dollar per mile cost during the week have been well over $2.50 a mile. But then just as quickly, you'll take that one load that's going to bring that average back down again.
Yeah.
And then likewise, you'll start out and you'll have really low numbers, less than $1 a mile, but then you'll get a couple of loads. By the end of the week, you're up right at the average again. So, I mean, it's all over the place.
My younger brother kind of taught me a little bit about OTR stuff and everything, because he's been doing it a lot longer than I have.
Really?
What he was always going on about. I usually try to, when I was running, before my truck went down on me, I was always trying to gross at least 5,000 a week. Sometimes I'll be lucky I break even, or about 50-50, because I was getting about, only costing me about 25% of my overall gross for my fuel, because I was trying to be easy about it. But
nothing wrong.
What he was, I know, but what he was always going on about stuff is like, you know, you could always be doing all these runs stuff in states. I think in the past, if I remember right on some of his videos, he's done some. He said he was down in South Carolina and everything, and he did a load up to Connecticut for like $1,500. That would kind of, for the most part, cover his fuel costs for going up to getting the customer load from Connecticut, going back west, and doing a good rate on that. But he has like say 3 loads on that particular week, but that $1,500 one. But the other 2 loads were pretty good loads. But he had that $1,500 one that would cover the fuel mileage, the fuel cost for that run for that week stuff and everything. So, you know, that's how my brother was kind of teaching me on how to kind of try to figure stuff in. If you can get some loads, smaller loads in there that will cover the
Right.
fuel, and everything else will be covered on that. But yeah, you can't run for $1 all miles
Let me
or
ask
anything
you
like that. But
Yeah, let me ask you real quick, Griff, and then I'm going to clear the studio line so other people can get a hold of us if we need to.
yep.
Fuel surcharges. You spoke of that a minute ago. Do you think fuel surcharges are a good thing for us guys, or do you think that's
Yes, it
just
is.
protecting
It
brokers?
is.
Who do you think it
Because,
favors more?
I don't know what you guys particularly run stuff with the particular carrier you're with on how it works out on the fuel surcharge, but from where I'm at, stuff being somewhat of a company driver and looking, I thought about take once I get my truck fixed going on with the company I'm at as a owner operator. I've been looking into it.
But overall,
It makes a big difference because
it helps.
when say you figure for fuel stuff, even if you say you average at 6.5 miles per gallon and at $5 or $6, that's somewhere right around, say, let's say 90 cents ballpark, whatever.
Right.
If you can get a 43-cent fuel charge, yes, it'll on that 90 cents, that will take it down to 47, 57
Yeah, I was going to
cents
say
a
that'll
mile.
cover maybe half the
And
fuel.
then it'll cover, if you can cover at least about a third of your fuel costs overall when it goes up and down with the fuel surcharge, that'll help you out, but you still need to try to figure.
Well, the reason I bring the question up is because typically when fuel surcharges are added to the cost of most rate cons, there's always a week lag. And by that, I don't mean weak as in versus strong. I mean 1 week, 7 days. There's always a lag between the time the surcharge is enacted or charged versus the actual spike in price. That's something I experienced working with Landstar. And I'm sure if I run the numbers now with, the last couple of weeks where I'd see the same thing. And
Probably, but I've never really experienced that because unfortunately I've been mostly running off when I was running with my brother, we were running off the load board.
yeah, because there's some,
last
I
year-
think, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, you may know the answer better than I do. CPI or some index that comes available, I think, on Mondays. And that's when the published rates for the fuel surcharges are known. So I don't know. I don't remember the name of the index. That's why I didn't know if you remembered, but that's why it lags because everybody.
Yeah. Well, usually, I don't know if it's quite true. But it's rule of thumb. If you divide the current fuel price, national average, divide that by 8, that kind of puts you close to what the fuel charge should be for the week or that day per se, whatever. Because they say it's so much of at certain mileage or a certain price or whatever. They got charged for it, but I always figured playing with numbers, but I figured it was like at the needs of the current pump prices.
Well, Griff, I appreciate the phone call. Conversation's always good to hear from you, my friend, especially member of my TIB Nation. I appreciate the call and the information. So
not a problem. And you and they take it easy stuff and don't run too hard and everything. So talk to you guys later.
Not a problem. Thanks for the call.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Which reminds me, guys, if you're feeling like you want us to help support the channel, in the bottom of my channel there in the description, there's a link. You can become a member. There's 2 levels. If you're thinking about it, if you're so inclined, please go ahead. I don't really advertise it, but it's certainly worth looking into. For your donation, I do publish monthly, sometimes even more, a newsletter. I give members only content. I give first priority to members, so they see all the content before the average subscriber does. So definitely worth the benefit. So if you're feeling that froggy, one edge most bigger companies have is that they always hedge fuel prices and negotiate large bulk discounts. Most of us work that out through different fuel card arrangements we have. So do you think the spike widens that gap or makes that harder to realize? What do you think, Faith? I mean, because some take a difference, like,
buying power matters. I'm not going to say buying power doesn't matter. I wouldn't know because I've never,
well, yeah, it's certain things we don't know, but yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But buying power most certainly matters.
You almost kind of get that when you're part of a fuel network, like, several, like a couple that we use. Mud Flap, I can think of one off the top of my head. They're not really the bulk kind of thing, but their discount program gives us a little bit of a cheaper price. And there's others out there. I mean, I can't really be partial to any one because I'm not sponsored by any, so take your pick. But they're discounts nonetheless. I mean, we, as small guys, we need every bit of help we can get. I mean, honestly. And I've found I'm leaning on these fuel cards more now than I ever did. Which is ironic,
Well,
it almost seems like the day
better
before,
lean on them. You waste money not leaning on them.
Well, see, the thing is,
Can I prove a point here, though? Hold on. I know I'm interrupting you, and I don't mean to interrupt the host.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There's people that get in a routine, and they get stuck in that routine. And
you're picking on me. I know you are.
No, I'm not picking on you. I got another buddy that I pick on. They will get stuck in a routine. They will find a place that they like to fuel up.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, you can tell them literally 2 miles down the street, you can save an additional 45 cents a gallon, which over the course of a year adds up to tens of thousands. It adds up.
Yeah, it adds up a lot. Yeah.
They will still go to that other place. So like part of being a business, this is my opinion, not only for business, but with life, is control the controllables. I'm not in control of the fuel prices. I am in control of what I pay for the fuel that I'm putting into my truck by using the services that you know what I mean? That either the carrier gave me or I've went out and got my own fuel cards. Sorry if you hear my reefer, it just kicked on. I got a new, new trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm surprised you're not hearing this because this thing's been running defrost for the last couple of minutes. I mean, I
don't hear it.
Surprised me. This particular trailer I've got's loud. Oh my word.
But it's control the controllables in business.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah. Last question I'm going to entertain. Do you think that what we're experiencing with the fuel spiking, does it change the lanes you're willing to look for loads in? Does it change how you run?
Absolutely. I just did it this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I already said I've slowed down to I'm going 62 miles an hour.
Right.
Which I was shocked at. I saved over a gallon per mile by slowing down. I was shocked because it's the same lane I run all the time.
Right.
And I mean, it took longer, you know what I mean? But I run so much multi-stop freight that like, I'm not worried about my clock, because I never burn my clock out on the road.
Yeah, I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea, but I'll tell you, in the last couple of days, I've actually done good on fuel. And mainly the reason is because I'm not running where I normally do. I mean, you and I've spoken, so normally what I do. But somewhere along the week, that plan got changed. And I've been running a lot of shorter loads.
Yep.
So I'm burning less fuel. And the way I drive because of that has also changed.
So
because of what's going on. So I'm surprised at the amount of fuel I've actually burned. It's been a lot less. It really has.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not afraid to go into like Connecticut, Massachusetts, Long
Which
Island,
is interesting because others in
But-
social media have said not to go up there because that's like the worst area to go.
So that's
Why
what
do you
I was
come
just
up-
getting at. I'm
Yeah,
I'm typically not afraid to go to those areas. And I looked at
Yeah.
a couple of loads the other day going up into uh New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. And then I looked at fuel prices.
yeah,
And yeah, the rates, like the loads were good loads. They paid well. But I just thought to myself, like, I know by the time I get up there, I'm going to need to fill my truck up. And my discounted price is $6.25 a gallon. I don't want to pay that for my fuel. And I'm in control of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do have control over. So I chose not to go up there. I actually ran, funny thing, what I did was I added up my fuel costs for last week, and I ran one load, quick 1 day load, picked up in the morning, delivered in the evening. It covers all my fuel costs for this week, you know, and I'm running my normal stuff.
Nice. Come on, act right. There it is. So, how many drivers do you think, right, have actually been tempted to park the truck and leave the market? How many do you think are really negatively affected by what we're experiencing today?
Well, I think we're all
Wow.
negatively affected by it.
Well, yeah, true. But to the point that people may just exit the market or just sit it out.
Oh, I'm sure
There's
there's
been
a
that-
good, I'm
there's
sure
been a
there's
lot
a
of
good
that.
handful of people that are
Sure.
willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean,
I asked this
good.
because I've seen a lot of this commentary on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. And I mean,
Good.
half of it you believe, half of it you don't believe. A lot of it's just a lot of blowhards making smoke for nothing. Click.
Do I think it's going to be
mania, whatever,
enough
but
to
Yeah.
change capacity? No, I don't think it'll be enough to change capacity.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if that's what people want to do, that's where I was getting. I mean, I make enough money that, I mean, obviously there's going to be a point where it's like, I don't want to pay $8 a gallon for fuel. You know what I mean? There'll be a time where we probably all have to look in the mirror and be like, is $1.05 a gallon worth it? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
right. Well, look at what I said opening the show. I mean, I don't know if you caught that or not, but there was actually a report on social media. Some place in this country charged $10 a gallon. Don't know where it is, but
Probably
it was
California.
actually out there. Probably, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was,
or like
you know,
Montana or something, Wyoming,
or someplace out there. Yeah, way out there.
Utah.
You know.
Yeah, no, and like that's, yeah, I wouldn't drive for 10, like, unless you're paying me, you know, 30 grand to go drive across the country, then I'd do it. But no, not, you know, that's the stuff I am in control of. And that's just like any business. Yeah, there might be a point where it's like, man, we quote, we park our truck and sit at home. That's like companies laying people off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's the same concept. Costs have
It is.
gotten too great with revenue being down. We have to bring revenue up by eliminating positions, you know?
True that.
So yeah, I mean, if people
Yeah.
do that, people do it. I'm not going to hate them for it.
Yeah. Let us know now or in the replay if you have your own experience with Don says California to what we were saying a minute ago. If you've got your own experiences with fuel that you want to share with others, by all means, let us know. I mean, you were just saying a minute ago, control or controllables. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, trying to look ahead here. I had a couple of suggestions I was going to make. And yeah,
Listen,
I do.
there's what, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You complete your thought. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there's things you can do to try and get better fuel economy. You can slow down.
Yep.
You can use a good fuel additive. You can, you know, maybe choose different lanes right now that, you know, if you run out west a lot and are in the mountains, maybe head down south.
Yep.
Budget.
Says budget Cali prices. You almost are cover fuel prices most places. That's a kind of an extreme example, but it kind of works, I think.
I didn't see it. I can't read it. Let me grab my glasses.
Yeah. It says budget Cali prices. You almost cover fuel prices most places, he says. I think that's funny. Just the way you said it.
This is going to make me look so old. I hate getting old.
I'm just letting you do it because I want to see what you look like with glasses on.
I'm getting old.
I'm going to clip farm this.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Right. Oh, anyway. Well, I'm not ending it. I'm just going to leave a couple of suggestions here, guys. The evening news might talk about geopolitics and international tensions, but not here on the interstate. We see a different scoreboard. Every load, every tank, we feel it with every gallon. So before we wrap up tonight, let me just talk about something that matters more than complaining about fuel prices. Beating them whenever possible. We've already touched on a few ideas. We may not control world events. We may not control oil markets or the politicians, but there are a few things we can do to stretch a gallon of diesel a little further. As Fate mentioned earlier, slow down just a little bit. Sometimes just that off the gas pedal, doing that 60, 62, not in the left lane though. I draw the line at that. Might help you save a few dollars. You never know. Aerodynamic drag climbs fast above 6 miles, 65 miles an hour. The faster you go, the more you're being resistant and the more fuel you burn to get where you're going. A lot of fleets have already eliminated that. Some have registered or governed their trucks, so you really don't have much control over that. But if you've got one that runs as fast as the sun, slow it down. You'll save a few gallons. Second, idle time. Every chance you get, reduce it. Now, the exception would be 10 below. You got to run it. You got to drive it. So you don't want to freeze up. Certain times you can't do it, but any chance you can. Idling a truck burns roughly a gallon of diesel every hour over the course of a year. That can eat up thousands of dollars. And third, watch the right lane habits. Smooth driving, less hard acceleration, and braking keeps fuel flowing steady instead of wasting it in bursts. Plan your fuel stops before you arrive. Last tip, prices vary dramatically, even between exits. So here's where technology helps. We talked about mud flap. If you've got other suggestions, leave them in the chat. Let us know. How do you plan your route so that you're saving as much as you can? Let us know. Share the wealth of knowledge. Get a couple of comments in here. Says, I wear reading glasses too. You're being picked on.
Figures.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Griff. That was Griff. Apps like Gas Buddy, Trucker Path, Mud Flap. I don't have any sponsorship or endorsement for any of these, so don't rely on them. Choose wisely. But they can show you how diesel prices along your route can help you locate cheaper stops before you roll anywhere. Many drivers also stack these savings with fuel cards, which lock in additional cents per gallon off the price. Because when the oil markets in the Middle East mess with your pocketbook, the first people who feel it, we are the ones. And that's why this conversation matters. Speaking of mattered conversations, if you like what you're seeing here, we do this once a week, if I can help it. So definitely look into becoming a subscriber, like this broadcast, share the wealth, let others know you found somebody that looks out for the average Joe, because that's what we do here. News and information for the average Joe trucker. You can't go wrong, especially if not only you take, but you give. So take a moment, hit that like button, give us a few minutes of your time. Any recommendations you got, Fate, for how to save a buck, how to make it really count out here?
Just in general?
Mm-hmm. Anything you can think of.
Oh, you got the music. Oh, yeah, man. Keep up on maintenance. Mm-hmm. Try to pre-plan your food at home so you're not eating in the truck stop. Buy a coffee pot so you don't have to walk into a truck stop and buy coffee every day.
You're getting funny now. You're getting personal.
I don't know, man. Do you? What I do isn't for everybody.
What fuel app do you use the most? What gives you the best saving? Out of what I mentioned earlier, Gas Buddy, Mudflap, how do you find your cheapest price?
So usually my cheapest price is either between one of the cards that I have from my carrier or my TVC Pro Driver card. Mudflap usually comes in like third or fourth for me for how I purchase my fuel, because I went out and got my own fuel cards, you know?
Right. Yep. I've tried telling him that, Pete. He don't listen.
What?
He said something about he's tried telling me. Oh, that's Lori. That's my wife. She's tried telling me about the coffee. So, yeah. Glad she had to chime in there. Glad you could chime in there. Hey, don't go anywhere. Stick around after the show. Guys, these kind of conversations are ones you'd like to have and be more involved with. I would love to hear from you. Go ahead. Look at becoming a subscriber. We'd certainly love to hear more from you and have you join the show on a regular basis. Tell a friend, the trucking industry just launched a new channel. Somebody like me, we are looking out for you. We are Trucking City. We are the trucker's voice. And you, everything's working right. You can be sure that we will tell everything to you straight. We will make trucking great again. Till we meet again, I'm Boss Man reminding you, keep the faith and keep it rolling.